Hi everyone, Richard A. Teacher here. So my standard is for grade 12 math. It is from the statistics and probability unit that all students must learn from. Statistics is one of my favorite types of math just because it's so practical. The standard I found is part of the Common Core curriculum. Why did I choose this curriculum? Because I like it the most. I'm joking, but Common Core standards build on the best of existing state standards. The Common Core standards provide clear and consistent learning goals to help prepare students for college, a career, and the rest of their lives. The standards clearly show what students are expected to learn at each grade level so that every parent, student, and teacher can understand and support proper learning. So the standard has two different parts. Here's the standard. Here's the first part. Understand and evaluate random processes underlying statistical experiments. The first part is to understand statistics as a process for making inferences about population parameters based on a random sample from that population. So this standard means that students need to understand that we can take or create a sample size, and if this sample size is statistically significant, we can make inferences about a population from this sample. So for example, if we want to make a survey to see how people will vote this upcoming election year, we need to make a sample size of about 9,600 people to have a 95% confidence interval. The second standard is we need to decide if a specific model is consistent with results from a given data generating process, for example, using simulation. And this is super cool because it shows that in statistics, the actual value is the value that's obtained by observation or by measuring the available data. It's also called the observed value. The predicted value is the value of the variable predicted based on the regression analysis, and these two are vastly different. So for example, if we flip a coin and we see the coin lands on heads most of the time, it's different than in our simulation, our predicted, where the coin should land 50-50, heads and tails. There are a ton of activities that can be done for statistics, since statistics is based off quantified models, representations, and synopses for a given set of experimental data or real-life studies. Statistics studies methodologies to gather, review, analyze, and draw conclusions from data. So one of my favorite activities to do is called graphing it. And this activity is designed to help students understand different methods for displaying data. The teacher prepares a data sheet consisting of data from topics that have widespread appeal and represent various scales of measurement. So an example could be the number of gold, silver, and bronze medals won by the United States during the last Olympics, or a distribution of test scores, or some kind of crime statistic. After a brief class discussion of frequency distributions and graphs, the teacher distributes data sheets and encourages students to think about when it's appropriate to use different types of graphs to summarize and organize data. Next, the students create a graph to summarize the data. Finally, the students should read and interpret each graph. So for example, you could distribute a data table showing medals won by the United States during the last Olympic Games, and then ask, what percentage of the medals won were silver? Here's one more that I have, and this is a hands-on activity that really enables students to grasp the relationship between a population and a sample. And the only thing we need to prepare for this is a table of random numbers. Now, to make this more exciting, we can have students take a short summative assessment or an easy quiz. It can be something we did in class, or it can be something fun like, "Are you smarter than a fifth grader?" questions. Score each paper and compute the population mean for use during the next class period. On the day of the activity, return the scored quiz papers and write the population mean of everyone's test on the board. Then collect 2 samples comprised of 5 individuals each, so we have 2 sample sizes. Collect the quiz papers from the members of the 2 samples and place the data on the board. Have the class compute the sample means for this data. Now we need to compare these values with the actual average, which usually is different, but it should be close. End this activity with a discussion of concepts related to a population and a sample. So for example, we could discuss the difference between a population of scores and a sample of scores, or the relationship between a population and a parameter, or a sample and a statistic. The distinction between a constant and a variable, or the relationship between a random sample and the representative sample. It's also important to assess the student's mastery of the standards that there are. I really like formative assessments to see how students are doing. My personal favorite application is Gimkit. This thing is super cool. It's like Kahoot on steroids. The app allows the teacher to make tests and assessments the students can do from a PC, phone, or tablet, but the students earn in-game money with correct answers to buy or upgrade their characters to get longer win streaks, things like that. Math is an international language, but the English that comes with it can be complicated at times, especially in statistics. So for the ESL students, or for those who have less than average reading abilities, I would do a few things. The first is I would keep the English consistent. Confidence interval, statistically significant. These words are long and hard, but if the students see them a lot, they will memorize what they need to do when they see these words. I would also provide translations to those who are ESL students. That way they could easily pick up the words, jump into the activity, and understand what to do, you know? Students do struggle a lot with statistics in class. It's one of the hardest areas of math that is sometimes hard to visualize and conceptualize. So something I'd love to do in my class for the unit test is give them a take-home test. And I would tell them that this test is identical to the one I would give them. The only difference is the one I will give them will have different numbers. So for example, the numbers on the take-home test might be 24%, 5%, 50%, whereas the numbers on the real test might be 21%, 7%, 40%. As long as they know the math process, they will get a great mark on the test. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my talk about statistics and math standards. My name is Richard Teacher. See you guys in class later.